What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Code with Annie, and thank you so much for all the support you have been giving me so far in all my videos. I'll continue to put more videos in Java programming concepts, and in this video, we are going to take a look at the concept of inheritance, which is an OOPS concept. So, what is inheritance? Inheritance is the process or the concept in which one class extends another class and takes the properties of the parent class, also retaining its own properties along the way. So you've already seen this inheritance in my last video where I was trying to explain about abstraction. So I can go ahead and probably show you this is the way inheritance works. So inheritance can be applied in the concept of classes, but let me again take a new example. I'll come back to this abstraction class in a while, abstraction package in a while, but before that, let's create a new package for inheritance. And let's say we have a class employee. Okay, let's add it to Git. Employee has a private string called name, which is the employee name, and we'll have a constructor. As I mentioned before, constructors are special methods in Java which have the same name as your class name. So let's say public employee string name, and we'll say this dot name. When I use this, I am accessing the class properties, which is name in this case. So I'm saying whatever name I pass to employee when I create the instance of employee, assign it to name. Okay, all good. Let's have a method which will return this name for us. Public string get employee name, which will just say return name. Yeah. So this completes a small employee class for us. Now let's go ahead and have two classes which will extend the class employee, or basically inherit the properties of employee. Let's say there is a tech employee. Okay, tech employee extends employee. Immediately it throws an error because it is saying that there is a parameterized constructor in your employee class which needs to be handled by your tech employee. So let's create a constructor in tech employee saying public tech employee receives a name, and we don't have a private name here. If you notice, the reason is we are going to reuse the definition that we have for name in employee, which is private string name, and we are assigning the name here, and we're going to use this particular property of the parent class whenever we extend any class from employee. So let's say here I'll use a special keyword in Java which is called super and say name. So what happens here is I'm invoking the constructor of my parent class, which is employee, and as soon as I pass the name that passed to tech employee, it gets assigned to this name here. So whenever I say get employee name, I will get the name which got assigned through tech employee. Basically, I am using the employee's properties and behavior within tech employee. All right, let's say I have another class called non-tech employee. Okay, which also extends employee. Now we have again the same problem. Let's do the constructor public non-tech employee, the string name super name. So that's it. We again invoke the constructor of the employee class, get the name, get it assigned here, and we are good to go. Now we have two classes which inherit the properties employee, tech, and non-tech. Now I'll show you one interesting thing which will also explain you a certain problem I had mentioned in my previous videos. Let's say I have another class here. Let's say he is an ambiguous employee. UOUS employee. Okay. That is, he doesn't know he's a tech or non-tech. He just got into the company. Let's say he tries to extend tech employee and non-tech employee. Moment I do this, I see an error in the IDE which states there is no parameterized constructor available for this, and class cannot extend multiple classes. So even if I say create a constructor matching super, an ambiguous employee tries to invoke the super, it is still a problem because both tech employee and non-tech employee are invoking a super method with an employee. So when ambiguous employee tries to extend or inherit from both these people, it doesn't understand whether to invoke the super of tech employee or whether to invoke the super of the non-tech employee, because eventually these both will invoke the super of employee class. So this, my dear friends, is the diamond problem in Java, which can be illustrated in a simple fashion like this. There's a class A, then there is a class B, and there is a class C. So B and C both extend A. In our case, B is your tech employee, C is your non-tech employee, A is your employee. So tech and non-tech both extend A. And there is a class D, which tries to extend both B and C. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it in the comments. Yeah, right? So your D is your ambiguous employee. So this structure, if you look at it, it's like a diamond, right? That's the reason why it's called as a diamond problem. This is prevalent in Java, and this is the reason why multiple inheritance through classes is not supported in Java. So how did we overcome this problem? Suppose we wanted to use traits from both employee, non-employee, non-tech employee. How do we do that? That is where your interfaces come into pattern. So let's look at the abstraction example. You have the circle class, which implements shape and just another interface, correct? So you have no issues with this. Why? Because both shape and just another interface are interfaces and just that. So they have only a particular method whose implementation will be handled by circle or rectangle or square or whoever is the one that implements this shape interface. The same case with rectangle as well. So shape and just another interface. And just another interface has one method get shape name, which has to be implemented by both rectangle and circle. So all this is fine so far, so good. So you have multiple interfaces and you can implement multiple interfaces because there is no confusion here. There is no super call. There is no common problem. That is the common method override problem here, as you see in the diamond problem. So what if I want to introduce the diamond problem in interfaces, which is very much possible post Java 8. So I just have to do one simple thing. In shape interface, you observe there is a default method string get name. So this is a default implementation of the interface, which I can override or I may not override in the classes that implement it. For example, I have not overridden this in either the circle or rectangle. So what I've overridden are only the necessary methods which I have to override and provide the definition. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to just another interface and I'm slowly going to put this sneakily here. The moment I do this, I see two related problems here. Why? Because my rectangle and circle, both of them are going to throw an error saying, okay, you are implementing shape and just another interface, but you have to tell me which get name method should I use? Should I use the one from shape or should I use the one from just another interface? You see, this is how you introduce a diamond problem in an interface. The moment you have an implementation, you have to choose which implementation to call. So let's go ahead and humor this error. Let's say implement methods, get name. See, it immediately says shape.super.getName, correct? So I can also replace this with just another interface.super.getName. So I have to specify which implementation of getName I am taking because I have provided an implementation in both shape and just another interface. So this is the concept of diamond problem. This is the concept of inheritance in Java. There's more to this, but that's it for this video. I'll talk about other concepts of interfaces along with public, private, protected modifiers and how they're used when you have interfaces and abstract classes, as well as the concept of inheritance in more detail in the next video. Until then, you guys take care. Hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already to Code with Annie. I'll see you guys in the next one.